just you and me today. Why are we talking about this one? I think it's because we're coming up to that time of year.
The
Lots
floodgates are
of
going to
people.
open.
Sorry, what?
The floodgates are going to
Oh, the
open.
floodgates are going to open. I know. Floodgates will be opening. Loads of people are going to be joining. And even if they aren't joining, they're going to suddenly go, oh my God, yeah, this is the year we're going to do it. So loads of people are going to become home ed parents. Some of them a bit quicker than expected. Some of them, it wasn't part of their plan. Some of them are like, yay, hooray, I'm going to be a home ed parent. But what we thought was, we get questions about certain aspects of, what do I do? What do I do? And I don't think we certainly haven't chatted about what it's like as ourselves, as parents, and what the difference has been like being home ed parents compared to not. Um, and kind of some of the changes that happen through suddenly being officially responsible for your
Mm.
child's education, even though of course we already were, but officially, as far as the local authority is concerned, you are in charge of your child's education and how that changes anything. So yeah, we got loads of questions have come in from the admin team on Heifer, from some of the members. We'll see how much we can get through. But why don't we start, Craig, by you saying a little bit about, remind people how you came to being a home ed parent.
I had a child. I
I don't want to know any more details than that.
I won't go
I'm
back
already in
further
trouble with
than
the
that.
finger in the dike comment.
Yes. Let's leave it there for the innuendos tonight. I had a child, and she's never been to school. I very strongly wanted to home educate. I've worked in the education sector, like many people that home educate, um, which, and I didn't have a very good time at school, so that kind of swayed my leaning, if you will.
Mm.
And I mentioned it to my wife. I thought she'd be quite against it, and she was quite open-minded and just did some research and was very happy to give it a go. And now we're absolutely embedded and fully, champions.
Okay, so at what point do you think you became a home ed parent?
I don't. Well, as you say, that there's a difference. If we're talking about when you become responsible, there's a clear age and times in there for that. But I'm one of these probably annoying people that say I've always home ed since she was born, because you do. And
But I guess at what point did you start saying to, out loud, I'm a
that
home
I
ed
home
parent?
educate.
Yeah,
Yeah, just when people started asking if she goes to school or where she
yeah.
goes to school, or it's that. But in my head, there's never been a very distinct point at which
Mm.
that happened. We've always, we've carried on in exactly the same way. We are child led, really, in our approach. Because I don't think it would work any other way, really. So we follow her interests, etc., etc. So, and that's really what we've always done. As much as you can with obviously a younger child. But yeah. So there's never been a clear like, oh, we're doing it now.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I've mentioned before that we chose at the end of primary school to not send our son to secondary school. We
And why
went as
did you
far
choose
as,
that?
why did we choose that?
Yeah.
Um, because we, I think it was around the time we were applying. We were applying for secondary school places. And it was then when I was like thinking through kind of, well, okay, we've got to make a choice of which school. And I think being faced with a choice again, that
Hmm.
like we were with primary, I was looking at the schools and I was thinking, I can't see him happy there. I can't see him happy there. I think he'd muddle through there. Um, he might be happy there, but I think it'll probably break us as a family getting there. And as we got nearer to the point of applying, we actually applied. We applied for school places. I quite like having choices, so I quite liked the idea of like, well, if we change our mind, then we haven't missed the boat. But we'll see how it goes. And then as we got nearer and nearer to the kind of the results coming out, And everyone's like, oh my God, I hope I get this school for my kid. We were already kind of, if he doesn't get into the first choice, we'd already thought, what would we do? And we're like, oh, well, we'll probably home educate until a place came up on the waiting list because we're really sure that that is the school of any of the ones that we think he'd
Yeah,
be all right in and happy in. Um, and I still think it's a really great school, actually. It just, as it became nearer to it, we're like, oh, do you know what? I don't think even that one is going to be a place where he's really going to thrive, being the kid that he is, being the attitude he has to like learning
yeah,
and that kind of thing. And it would have been like a long day of travel, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, that wasn't quite what we had in mind. We wanted, you know, always being able to walk to secondary school like me and his dad had, and that's quite a different way of looking at it. So I think because we'd had the option of not automatically going to a particular school you have to apply, it opened us up to not sending him at all. And so because we'd already thought what would home ed look like, we'd already got through all that preparation again. So I think
yeah.
that same theme of like we'd done our research, we were both really happy with comfortable with that. Um, and then just before the before the place came out, um, me and my partner said, I'm actually hoping that he doesn't get the
Doesn't get it.
place. And he's like, because I don't want to turn them down because they're a really nice school, but like, I don't want to send him there. And he's like, yeah, me too. And so we said, should we just decide now that we're definitely going to do this? And our son was all for it as well. So, yeah, so that's what we did. And then it actually made life easier for us because they didn't offer us that place. We did end up on the waiting list. So I guess we're still on that waiting list two
Well, you
years
never
later.
told them.
I think at some point we probably fell off the waiting list.
Ah,
We never got offered a place. So yeah, and of course, now we're like, oh God, I wouldn't do it any other way, and all that kind of
so
thing.
you had that very definite point at which you became
Yeah,
that home ed
yeah,
parent.
and I think that
Parent.
that definite point was the night before the results came out because we were like, yeah, we're definitely doing this. We're really happy with it, and we had from I guess it was probably the middle of the spring term, we had a term and a half before the summer holidays to
Of
kind of
course.
see out year six, do all that, knowing that we weren't going to have to deal with secondary. And then we just kind of rolled into summer holidays, and then the summer holidays just became September, and nothing changed for him. He just went to summer holidays, and yeah. And then the funny thing is, and it's this is why I think you and I can talk like quite a lot in common about home ed, is because even though we got there later, what we realised was that actually our home ed looks a lot like the summer holidays for how we used to do our summer holidays. You know, after we kind of like, oh, I'm exhausted, got that out of the way. It'd be like, oh, right, what are we going to do today then? Right, okay, let's play a board game. Let's do this.
Mm.
Oh, I feel like doing that. Yeah, sure, let's go and do that. Let's go off in the car and just see where we end up and find our way back. Go on a train, you know. Oh, watch this video. Oh, I was watching that too. Let's have a chat about it. It's all very the same way. And so I think for us, the only thing where we had to kind of a bit like you was when other people ask. It was like, it's like, so you're looking forward to going back to school? Oh, how's he feel about school? It's like, oh, well, actually, actually, we're not. And then it's like, in the conversation, and people are like, oh God, I know nothing about this. I don't know how to have a conversation with you if it's not about school. Or they were like, oh, interesting. Tell me more. So yeah, and we still get that all the time. People like making conversation and say to my son, oh, so glad to be in the summer holidays. And he's kind of like, yes, but also I don't go to school. So anyway, yeah, so that's it. I think we had a lot of time to prepare. And I am really sympathetic to the people who come at it in a hurry from a bad place.
Yeah, yeah. That's the worst way for yourself.
Mm,
To be introduced to it.
yeah.
It's not a judgment at all, but yeah. It's the worst thing I think for you because you haven't had any of that prep time.
Mm.
or chance to kind of get your head around that new way of thinking, which is why I think a lot of people in those situations go heavy a lot of the time on trying to recreate a school environment at home, which
Mm.
then can backfire for a good proportion of people, and then that feels like that's not working as well, and it becomes
Yeah.
a bit of a spiral. So yeah, I feel for those people too.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's tricky. And yeah, I mean, we've got other resources that talk a lot about burnout and those kind of situations. I sometimes, yeah, they're kind of people who've transferred to Heifer from not finding school. Quite a few people do that, and
Yeah, of course, yeah.
they come over and you're just kind of like, oh, my loves, come on in, sit yourself down, have a cup of tea, take a breath. We're going to look after you. We'll get you through the rocky bits. But trust us, this is going to be hard, but it's going to be joyful hard most of the time, positive hard, like building your own house rather than like trying to stop your house from falling down. That kind of hard work. Do you know what I mean? It's a constructive bit of work that you're going to do because you're building something lovely. You're building a different relationship with your child. You're building a particular life. You're helping them in so many ways. Yeah, so I think once you get past that horrible time, it can be really lovely. But there's a lot of focus on my kid. I've got to recreate everything because that's what I know, and I haven't had time to think about anything else. So I guess I don't know who this podcast is for. I'm hoping it's for people who are considering and have got time to have a little think about them in
And the
it.
person that likes my accent, of course. Hello.
Oh yes, oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I've got a phone book for you to read a bit later. So, so what we do have, we've got a few questions, and I mean some of them we won't be able to answer. Sorry, even though we're really good at flanneling on. There'll be bits where we go, that's not really us because we're not going to be able to talk from our experience. We just might be able to say something about what we know about other people. Okay. But otherwise, I'm going to pop up lots of links to different posts we've got and other podcasts and stuff that are really helpful for that. So, how about my favourite? I'm going to start with this one because this one's my favourite. Craig, how
Yes.
do you keep your house tidy whilst being a home educator?
So I think what you have to do, it depends on the family, doesn't it? I think, and it definitely depends on you and your child. Um, I know for me, I've had to. Well, this started when my now wife moved in with me many years ago now. I had to change my definition of what tidy was, because my definition of tidy is to be immaculate, everything put away in a nice place. Um, maybe one tiny area that was a little bit chaotic, but apart from everything, pristine. And that's definitely had to, as I say, when my wife does not have that the same definition. And
She got a different aesthetic, has she? In terms of
she's just
yeah.
got the yes. Any surface is a viable option for placing things in
Okay,
our
so for
house.
you, surfaces aren't storage opportunities then.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I've gone over to the dark side now, so I do it now. But I never used to.
Excellent.
But I think I've given up a lot of the time. So, but my daughter really oscillates between myself and my wife. So sometimes not my wife's not super messy, but it's just yeah. Um,
Mm.
my daughter sometimes she will sit in absolute chaos, and it will make me feel sick, and
Mm.
I'll reach a point where I have to go and do just put a lot of things away for a bit. Not like things she's using and stuff,
Mm.
just things that are out. Um,
I can see you running around with these little wicker baskets, just going
uh,
scoop,
but I get
scoop,
overwhelmed
scoop.
because of the ADHD and all that. I get overwhelmed where to start and what to do. So it's a bit of a nightmare. But then sometimes my daughter freaks out because like she's just realised that her desk is a mess and she can't actually cope with it, and then we have to do that. And then the next day or 10 minutes later, it's completely crackers again. So, literally and metaphorically. So, yeah, I'd say lower your standards unless you've got a child and a
Yeah.
parent that are synergizing and having the same outlook on what they
Mm.
like their space to be like, unless you've got that nice um matching up. Uh, just you'll have to someone will have to let something go. Um,
Yeah. Why do you think this question came up? Like, what is it about homemade where the tidiness of the house suddenly becomes an issue?
well, I think you're just together more, aren't you? And I suppose we're not in all the time. You know, at least 50% probably, in the school holidays, but more than that afterwards because they're
Mm.
less busy, out and about, probably 60-40 or maybe a bit more outside. So, yeah, it's not like we're in all the time, but I think as well, it depends on your style and your approach, doesn't it? But, I don't like to kind of restrain or restrict what can be done. So getting things out, leaving them. I know it's not going to be right for my daughter to have to put everything away before she gets another thing out, and so I think it does depend on your style. How's your house? How I can imagine that yours is quite ordered,
Oh, really?
or
Oh,
is
how
that it?
sweet. No.
No, okay,
No, our house is more evident of all the kind of stuff we like to do.
of course,
So
yeah.
you'd walk in and go, oh, okay, so you like gardening and you
She'd be
like
good on
this. There's a
through the
lot of
keyhole.
well, there's a lot of evidence of what we enjoy doing around, right? So I would say I was the tidier again of a couple
Yes.
before we kind of joined households. Um, but I've always been someone who I have a lot of things. I think it's quite difficult to be really tidy when you've got a lot of things. So I have a lot of interests, so I've got a lot of things. I love having a book about things, so I'll have a lot of books.
Oh, yes.
Um, I don't like throwing stuff away because I think it's wasteful. So the main thing is that we try and reduce what we bring in. But the reason why this is a homemade parent question is because I think, number one, you tend to buy a lot of stuff that you think you're going to need to do homemade. Um, that's something we've talked about before. Yeah, you don't need to do that, but you will probably, especially if you are like, I'm going to become a homemade parent, right? I must have craft materials and workbooks, and I must have bits that you can do maths with, and things like recreating, like maybe the reception classroom, that kind of thing. And and yeah, you might end up so you've got a lot of that. People are obsessed with printers. Like suddenly people are printing a lot of stuff, so there might be a lot of tech kicking about that wasn't. Um,
Just bits of paper.
Bits of flipping paper everywhere. But this is the thing. So I would say our house was probably a bit more cluttered when I was trying to do education. And
Mm.
then when I let that go, it's kind of actually it's just regular. It's just a regular amount of stuff. But we do go through periods of kind of sorting and stuff. But actually, uh, my son actually finds that he quite enjoys
Yeah.
doing sorting and kind of clearing up a little bit um, and we've kind of made it a bit of a sort of a project as well of like how do you want the house to be, and what do you want how do you want your room, what do you want your setup to be for your gaming and all that kind of stuff. So I'd say it's a bit of work in progress. What I think is, like you said, you spend more time, you notice it more. It's because you're not out at work or you're not on your own and you can be in your nice comfortable chair not looking at it all, or you can clear it all up and nobody changes it for a few hours. um, I think if you're used to having your kids at school, um, you can go around clearing something up and then look back in that room and it's like, oh my god, how happened just in that room? I literally just did it. Yeah, so I think you need to get over that. That's one of the things. I think becoming a homemade parent does flag up any issues that niggle away a little bit. It kind of makes you pay attention to them in the same way that lockdown did. Um, so we did really well. We thrived as a family during lockdown, and I think that was the thing. I mean, not the school bit. The school, like trying to do school at home with everybody, I know, said that was awful. Um,
Mm.
but the spending time together, playing games together, being around each other, that we really enjoyed that. So that was not an adjustment for us. There are other adjustments that we've had to make, mostly money, income has been the big adjustment for us. So having like two people working full time to not, um, that is an adjustment. That yeah, you kind of have to. That's one of the things. That's one of the things you have to deal with and think about. Um, so, well, here's a question then. When do you get any work done? So, how have you set? How was it like when your daughter was tiny? To how you've kind of set it up with like, well, actually, someone's got to be actually like educating her and stuff like that. Has there been any change for you with that?
Um, are we talking about personal work, or are we talking about work with?
Not work on yourself, Craig,
No,
or working out. I mean, yeah, like paid
paid employment. Yes.
meaningful employment, like paid employment, self-employment, whatever it is,
Yeah.
that.
Um, yes, me and my wife, we share days. No, we don't. That's a lie. We share the week. Yeah, we have set days that we are both responsible. Where each of us are responsible, so that we work on those other days. So we're really lucky to have at the moment part-time employment. And
Is that employment that requires you to leave the house, or are you still at home?
no, well, I mean, I've technically my work is very agile
Mm.
based, and they are very flexible because of my needs as well. This would be the same if I wasn't a parent, I think.
I'm
But
imagining you being agile and flexible at work.
oh yeah, that's me. Yeah.
You're an acrobat,
Um,
aren't you?
but yeah, I do all of my work remotely. I go into to London maybe 2 times a year, or 3 times if it's a bad year. So yeah, I don't have to
Mm.
do that, but that probably makes it harder.
Mm.
Unless my employer's listening, then it's not harder at all, and it's fine. Um, to get that work done,
Yeah.
it's much better now.
Yeah.
My daughter's got much more understanding, but when she was tiny, she did not. When tiny, I'm saying tiny, 5, 6.
Yeah.
It was harder to have that more uninterrupted time. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's uninterrupted now, because it isn't, because there's other issues that go on, and
Yeah.
oh sorry, I'll just close the doors and meltdown, in the next room. So yeah, but I'm lucky to have a very understanding employer.
Mm.
And my daughter goes to a forest school once a week as well, so she's there for 6 hours one day a week, and that gives us time to we both work on that day. So
Mm.
yeah, that's how we split our day. I know and I know there are lots of people trying to juggle working full time and doing this as well.
Yeah.
And I have massive sympathy for that. That must be
Mm.
incredibly difficult.
Mm.
And but verging on, I would say, impossible, depending on the age of your child. If you've got a young child, I can't see how you could do it.
Mm.
But with an older child, someone in secondary school age, I can see that is possible to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially obviously, as we know, home ed doesn't have to be set hours, or follow the school day.
I think that's one of the really important things, actually, that so I'm self-employed and I have been for a long time. I do have a part-time job as well, but it's that's on very fixed, reduced term time sort of thing, so it doesn't really affect the home ed in particularly. And I do have the meetings that are sometimes fixed, but I've always enjoyed working odd hours. I've never been one of those self-employed people that's like, right, I'm going to work. I shall sit at my desk at 9 o'clock and I shall finish at 5:30. And I know people who do that, and they go to work in their office at the bottom of the garden because they cannot do it otherwise. I'm just not that kind of person. I hate it. I have to get up and move around. I have to go and do something. I get bored. That's I wouldn't be able to do that anyway. So the fact that I've got that kind of work, it does mean that some people are like, I never see you, Cheryl. Are like, oh, tell me a weekend you're free. Well, None, actually, because between us, we're working the evenings, the Saturday and Sunday. We've got this on this evening, this on that. It's like we've done that so that between us, me and my partner, we can both be around full time. There's always somebody who is working at home. Um, that's what we've set up. To be honest, it isn't necessary in terms of needing to. Yeah, we don't really need to be, and I can go off and do, that's the thing, I can go off and do more. So I do work more than part time, but I'll be working. But my son knows, unless I'm in a meeting, he can just come in and just go, "Oh, mum, can you help me with this? Or can I show
Mm.
you this that I've just done?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, hang on, I'll just finish this email." Right, okay, yeah, cool, let's go and have a look. And I'll, an hour later, go back to what it was I was working on.
Yeah.
And it might mean I have to work in the evening. But so there are some weeks when I do full-time hours. So I am working full-time hours, but at really odd times, 6:30 in the morning on a Sunday, 8 o'clock at night on a Friday, or I'll go with him to something and I'll take my laptop. It's like, oh, I can come with you, but I've got to bring my laptop. Is that all right? Yeah, 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 fine. You know, um, Most of my work is like that. So I have found it possible to work full time, but not full time as an employee.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Um, I also do gardening for people, and that's again, I can kind of go, well, I can do it between these 2 hours because I know that he's doing something else, and it all kind of moves around. But yeah, so when I get any work done, that's not the problem. The work gets done. What has been the problem is when I get any like Cheryl time. So yeah, how do you manage to get any Craig time?
Well, it goes in up and down roller coasters kind of thing. I think
You go to roller
sometimes.
coasters? Is that what you
Oh
do
no,
with your free
no, no!
time?
I hate roller coasters. It's metaphorical roller coaster.
Oh, okay, all right.
So sometimes I can get some relaxation time, etc. And sometimes it feels like I've not had any for weeks and weeks. We're pretty good at sharing responsibilities
Mm,
and trying to give each other the time, as parents that we both need, and we're lucky, two of us here. Um, and again, I think it depends on the age of the child. When my daughter was much younger, or not that much younger actually, thinking about it, she needed a lot more constant attention. That sounds wrong.
mm,
And didn't begrudge giving that to her, but she would get up at like between 4 and 5 most days until she was about
mm,
6 anyway.
yeah.
And then after that, still very early, like between 5 and half 5. Um, but then need constant engagement from
Mm,
that point until
mm.
bedtime, which
Oh
is
my God, I feel
exhausting.
so tired. I'm having a little flashback here, but
Yeah, I
it is
remember when she
exhausting.
was younger,
Yeah.
when this was happening, and I'd always beg her to, like, can you please just watch this film with me so that I can sit down for a minute and close my eyes because
I
I
have one
can't
that doesn't
stand
watch
up.
films. He won't watch films.
Yeah,
I'm like, damn.
she will
We have watched
now.
we have watched a couple, and like maybe on my hand. Oh no, actually, with his dad, he's watched the Star Wars movies, but that's to kind of like that. I think that's him giving his dad the gift of. I
Oh,
know it's
sharing it
I know
with
it's really
him.
important to you to watch this with your son. I shall watch this
Oh,
with you, but I'd rather watch the episodes that last a few, like quite a lot shorter. You know,
yeah,
it just
yeah.
yeah. I struggle as well quite a lot. I used to love it, but I struggle because
Oh,
I
I'm the
suppose
same. I
also that's the
prefer a
thing. I'm
series, and
busy. I'm like, I can't be sitting down for two. We watched a film the other day, which was really good, but we watched it. I was like, yes, it's 90 minutes. They're like, great, a good right, film that's 90 minutes, fantastic. I can handle that. We'll watch that. That'll feel really nice, and I can still go and do something else. I haven't wasted my evening on a film, and I enjoyed watching a film. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, uh, I don't. Oh God, who was that person that I used to go and watch movies like 2 or 3 in a row, and like, oh. Um, but yeah, so I don't think it's any different from when you have children generally. That kind of, where do I get my me time? I think again, it depends on what, if you have had a child in school and you are not working full time, like with wraparound childcare, you drop your kid off, you go to work, you
Mm.
pick your kid up, your kids come back. If you actually instead are someone who is either at home or gets just that couple of hours, or that day where you don't, it can be a wrench to let that one go. Um,
This is one
that
of the
that can
biggest
be,
things I say. One
yeah.
of the things I stress to people that it's amazing. I would never change what we're doing, voluntarily. I know obviously life can sometimes make people have to change things, but I
Mm,
would never choose to change what we're doing. And um, I think that the thing I do stress to people considering it is that it's amazing, it's wonderful. I personally think it's one of the best things you can choose to do for your child if you have that option. But it's bloody hard work, and you probably
mm,
won't get much time to yourself,
no.
depending on the age of your child,
Mm,
yeah, and how much what their needs are and how much intervention they need. But that's something you really do need to consider. That it's
mm.
not going to be really something that you're going to go, oh, that was relaxing. Not on normally.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I mean, this is the point where I'm going to recommend a book. In fact, I've got two books. Here you go. This is the first one. Hang on, let me get it there in front of my face. So this is called Reality versus Expectation,
And who's you
the
buying?
homemade guide you didn't know you needed. Someone called Ellen Morgan. I hear she's
Okay.
very good. And the other book is Reality versus Expectation. Right, I bought two of these because without even having read it, I knew I would be lending one to someone else because I am that person. So I just today, a friend was over and she's like, "Oh, I love your garden." And it's like, "Oh, I really like the idea of that plant and jungle. I got a book. I got a book for you." And I went to my room and I got the Jungle Garden, and it's all about growing hardy, tropical-looking plants. There you go. Off she goes. Um, so I knew I would inevitably be lending this book to someone. I'm like, well, I'll never get that one back, will I? And then when do I read it? So I got two at the same time. One of them has got my name very firmly in it, and that one stays on the shelf. And the other one is like actually quite well thumbed now. I'm really happy. It's been on loan to a few people, and yeah, really great. So yeah, I'm recommending that. And the reason I'm recommending it right now is because there's a chapter called Home Education in Practice. And that one, I mean, all of it is amazing, but home education in practice is another perspective on what it's like to be a home educator as a parent. And there's stuff in there about how to look after you and boundaries and the author writes brilliantly about how she is like, there are these three things I need, and if I don't have these, then I'm not going to be doing well. I need this, this, and this. I need like that half hour to myself with a cup of tea first thing in the morning. You will not bother me. In return, you need this. You will definitely get that, and having that kind of arrangement with your children of like, I will be completely available the rest of the time, but what mummy needs is this,
Yeah,
and I'm going to have that. And she talks about it here, and I agree too. What I think is amazing as a homemade parent is you then get to model some great adult life skills.
absolutely.
So I don't see it as like, "Ooh, I'm getting some me time." I am, but also it's like you also need you time. You can see me looking after myself and knowing what I need to get through the day, how much
Yeah.
sleep I need, when I need to eat. Do you know what? Mummy just needs to go and sit down for a bit. I don't refer to myself as mummy. I need to go and sit down for a bit. Um, or do you know what? My head is spinning. I need you to go away for a few minutes and let me just, and then I'll come in
This
and
is
be with
such a
you.
good point. I try and do this. Again, now my daughter's a bit older. She's 9, by the way, just for anyone wondering. Um, yeah, this is such an important thing. I'm hugely in support of people giving this message, as you just said, of that this is really important for you and for me to have this relaxation time or
Mm,
this downtime. And I see it, especially when I've been out or we've been out.
Mm.
And my daughter needs it often when we've been out, and especially if it's been busy, etc., etc. And it's knowing yourself, isn't it? And it's advocating
Yeah.
for yourself. And just today, her mum was busy doing something else. I spent the afternoon, doing stuff with her, and I said, look, after this bit, I'm gonna I need to go and sit down and do something. What are
Mm.
you going to do, etc. And she was fine with that. But it is about looking after yourself. Now, it wouldn't have worked with her when she was younger. Wouldn't have been able to say, I need this. It wouldn't have been a
You might have
thing.
said it to your partner though, or
Oh,
your wife. Sorry, I've
absolutely,
got
yeah,
a partner, so you might say no. You might say to them, "I
yeah.
I need you to
Oh,
tap
and
in
we did,
because
yeah, yeah.
I've got to go." So we're our son is 13, and so we're experiencing being a teenager home educator's parent, right?
So are we
Um,
at 9, yeah,
yeah, well, no, yeah, because you've got a girl, you've got a boy. Um, but you know, um, where am I going with this? Yes, that in order to still be, it's quite a volatile time hormonally, and just
yeah.
like there's a lot of stuff going on, and I want to be a really good parent and be sympathetic and calm and like, yeah, that sounds really rubbish. That what do you want to do? Go for a stompy walk? Do you want to be left alone? What do you? If I'm not feeling it, if I'm like, oh God, I can't, I've just been dealing with some really stressful thing for myself, or this is kicking something off for me, but like, right, other parent, I need you to come in and just like feed the kid, feed the kid. They need food.
Mm.
I can't deal with that kind of stuff at the moment. And yeah, and yeah, so and I think we both noticed to do that. Um, so I think we probably would have done that when he was little. It's like I'm just like this close to not being able to cope. Can you be the be the yeah, your batteries are boosted up.
Yeah.
Can you go for it, please? And then
And
I'll
I
take
think
over
that's really
later.
important, isn't it, to realise, and even if that other person has been out at work or in at work all day, that's very much a different stress and a
Yes.
different thing to you needing time. Because I used to say, before my work went a bit off the wall, that I used to go to work for a rest. Or for a
Yeah.
break, that was the time where I could kind of almost clear my mind mostly,
Yeah.
because work well, still is really so much easier.
Yeah.
Again, not that I change home ed at all, but
No.
it's hard work sometimes,
It's
and
really, yeah.
work
I mean,
isn't.
yeah, but like I said, it's like kind of, did I say it to you before or after we press record? I think it's like it's quite it's constructive work. Yeah. It's like I find it quite like, oh yeah, look what we did, or look that's great. And I know why we're doing it. And it was for us again, it was a choice to do this, which is quite different from God, I've got to do this thing. you know but yeah, I get that. There are times where actually it's quite nice to be like, oh, I'm gonna work all day today, because I know where I am with that. It's quite, not chaotic and that kind of stuff. But yeah, so is that yeah? So how are things going for you guys then? How do you? Is there any kind of like things you structure in? Do you have a regular five-a-side football, or what do
For,
you
for
do?
for relaxation time,
Yeah.
no, I don't. My wife is very good, and she likes to go out. I'm not one that likes to go out, especially on my
I
own.
remember this. Our
Yeah,
listener may be aware that we did one about home ed and going outdoors. Um, you want to have a listen to that one.
I like going
The
out.
horror of going for a walk. Oh my
That's
God.
it. Yeah, yeah. I do like to be outside, but I
Yeah.
like everyone else to be inside at the same time. So it's hard work, isn't it? Trying to get to a place where no one else is. And I don't like. I'm not massive on my own company. So my head
I
has
want
to
to
be
be on
up.
my own, but I don't want anyone else around me, but I also don't want to be on my own.
Well, no, no.
That's a,
Well, it's not anyone else. I'd like the people I choose to be around me, but
oh, I see.
everyone else
Okay.
to go.
All right. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
a couple of people going the
Yeah.
opposite direction is fine. It's just the crowded spaces I don't like. But
You could rent some extras. You could hire some extras. You can find somewhere really like
I don't
like
need
they
any
do, where they have
extra
like
people. I want
where they
less.
have
Can I
like
hire
central
lessers?
casting. I just need some central casting people to walk up and down this street.
Scaring
You
everyone
won't be
else off.
you guys don't have lines. You will not be talking to me. This is
Yeah, just nod. That's fine. I'll do a nod
yeah,
or
nod.
a morning,
A little bit of rhubarb. Rhubarb is fine. Nothing
Yes,
else.
a mumble, mumble. Yeah, so I don't have any structured time for myself really. It's the nights that I get off of bedtimes that are normally
Mm,
the because our bedtimes are very intense still, and
mm,
labour intensive. So yeah, those nights where my wife is putting her daughter to bed are the nights where I get a couple of hours normally to do what I like to do.
mm.
And now she is a bit older. During the day she will sometimes be doing something independently, and I'm around and I can
Yeah.
do something nearby.
It
That's
can be
not.
quite weird. I'll tell you, it can be quite weird to suddenly go, huh,
Yes,
oh, I appear to have time on my hands. Like
yeah.
tomorrow, so my son is 13, but he's like, I'm going to be out between this hour and this hour. I'm like, what? Oh my God. I've got, what? I was like, oh, okay. Nice. Well done, dear. That's nice. And also, oh, shall I paint the kitchen? Or shall I go and lie on a hammock with a book? I'm like, oh, yeah,
That's the thing,
that's
isn't
quite
it?
weird when that happens.
Yeah, yeah. Don't feel the need to fill it with massive things, because sometimes I'm like, I've not done anything with this time, and it's like, actually,
Mm,
you just need to not do anything with your time. Sometimes it's,
yeah,
if
yeah,
you get
yeah,
that chance, it's really
yeah,
important to just sometimes do not a lot, and recharge yourself a bit, isn't
yeah,
it? But yeah.
yeah. Um, so oh, okay. So yes, we were talking about an alternative to hiring people to be companions for you. Is
Go
because
steady on.
I'm looking here, going feeling isolated, connecting with other people. So as a home ed parent, you do have a superhero secret identity as a home ed parent. Okay. Um, do you find that? Did you find that put a bit of space between you or distance between you and other parents? I mean, did you even know other parents? Because you were
I've
never in
got
that
one
thing, were you?
friend really that's a parent, that we see a couple of times a year, um, and a good friend that I used to work with, and
Mm,
but he's older. His kids are just finishing uni and stuff. So um, now, so no. Apart from that, I didn't really know anyone myself like really well that was a parent. My wife had more friends that were becoming parents around the same time. Um, but we no, we didn't. I didn't. Sorry, I didn't know
mm.
many, and when we were very first starting out, and I mean pre CSA kind of age, but when we decided,
For people, CSA is
yes,
compulsory school
CSA,
age.
yes, indeed, compulsory school age. Sorry, parentheses CSA. So now I can abbreviate ad infinitum. That's Latin.
Yeah.
Um, as you'll probably know from your plants, but yeah, I was very insular, and I would go out, but we'd go out and just do things together. Um,
Mm,
and then I think probably my wife, give the credit to my wife for kind of joining the Facebook groups and stuff, and then I followed very quickly behind, joining those.
mm,
But yeah, and through those, and got added to a few WhatsApp groups locally, and now the probably some of the best friends, or definitely some of the best friends that I've ever had are people we've met
mm.
through home ed, and so now we've got a good circle of people that we meet up with. Or
Yeah, because you came on a different way. So I'm thinking different scenarios. So someone who has gone through maybe a year or two of primary school, for example, you've got that
yeah,
cohort and you're doing the school run and you meet at the school gate and like, yeah, is it PE tomorrow? Oh, I don't know. You know, I've got this. La, la. Oh God, don't forget you've got to bring a toilet roll tomorrow for such and such. Oh yeah, great, brilliant. Okay, are you going on the school trip? Oh yeah, all that kind of stuff. And that's another realm of, you've got common ground.
And that's your group, isn't it? And your
It is a
identity
group,
almost. Yeah.
and for some people, that is where they get a lot of friendships from.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So then when that is taken away, and then suddenly it's like, oh, well, my friends are all on a different path as a whole gang. It's a bit like it's a bit like going to a different school from all your friends that
Mm.
went to that school, and you're like, oh, we'll still be friends, won't we? It's like, yeah, yeah, of course we will, of course we will. It's like, oh, so and so happened today, and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's that kind of experience. And so yeah, that common thing that that thing you had in common, you don't have anymore. That can be, so that number one, that can be quite hard. Number two, your friends will, their time at socializing will have been constructed around school hours, and whether they're at home during the school day, or it's gone around that. So also your free time for socializing might be in the middle of the day suddenly now. It's like, yeah, or I've got 2 hours while my kids are at forest school, or whatever it is. Where are all the people? Well, they're not there because they're at work, or they're doing something, they're at home with their little ones or something. So it can be quite tricky to find your tribe, I think.
I think especially if you are quite, someone that doesn't do that naturally and
Mm,
isn't comfortable putting yourself out there going, oh, hello,
yeah,
it's me, I'm new.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, can you imagine? Hi,
I can
I'm
imagine you doing it.
you.
Um,
Yeah, kind of, yeah, but I'd also be horrified at someone else doing it.
yes, yes, I can imagine that
That's
too.
the thing. No, I would probably come in, and then I would find someone who was sitting on their own and go and sit with them and go, hi, yeah, I'm new.
We
Yeah,
make a conscious effort. We try and organise a couple of picnics a year locally. Just and I say organise just by creating an event and saying, "Come on, come on, come on, come on,"
yeah,
and that's pretty much the organising that we
yeah.
do. I'm not bigging up our part in it, but
You don't
we
make all
put
the sandwiches.
no. We don't even bring a blanket for everyone. We put that date out there,
Yeah.
and we have quite a good turnout for that. And a lot of the time, new people come, and we actively try and encourage the new people that join the groups to come along
Mm, mm,
to those events, and make a purposeful effort to talk to them at those events, because we know, how. I think if you're coming into lots of established people that know each other, it can be really daunting, can't it?
yeah.
And really, as I say, especially for someone that's quite insular, maybe not, by nature.
Mm,
And what I try and say to people is that you've immediately got something in common with everyone else, really, because you've all chosen in one way or another, or you're all doing this. You're on
yeah.
this journey together. At least you've not just got that geography of the school gate in
Mm,
common. Don't
mm,
mean you can't meet wonderful people at the school gates, but
yeah.
you've already probably got some form of ideology, somewhere with a lot of people that are on this journey. And so you're probably going to find it, you've already got something to talk about as well, because everyone, one of
Yeah.
the first questions is, what made you want to do this, or
I
what
know, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's like, how long have you been
exactly.
home, Ed?
That's
What
the
made you
icebreaker.
do it? Have you been contacted by the LA yet? Oh, this, and that, you have got a lot to talk about. And
Yeah.
it's a bit like when you first have a baby and suddenly you're an expert on the different pushchairs. And you're just kind of like, I must find other people who know about this because I've got information to share. It's like, I think that's probably why we do these chat-abouts become admin. It's like, I need to share all this information I've stored up about experience and stuff.
Well, I think we know that people, some people, the person that listens to this benefits from, I think, not more experienced
Yeah.
people, but slightly more
Other
seasoned.
experience. People with other
Yeah,
experience. Yeah,
exactly.
that's it.
And it helps to know you're not alone. Everyone is like, we've never seen a worry or a concern or a question that
Mm,
has not been shared by,
no.
handfuls of
And
other
there
people.
are some kind of like common things, like we all can go, so what's the worst thing you've ever been told when you've told someone you're a homemade? Oh my God, you can have all this kind of stuff, or that kind
I
of
can't
thing.
do that one though.
What?
I don't know if it's because I'm a big like guy.
Yeah, they think you're going to punch them in the
Well,
face,
this
don't
is
they?
it, and I'm so gentle, but I think it must be that I look like someone that you wouldn't want to like kind of
Oh,
I
you're
don't
a
know
little
have an
teddy
argument with.
bear.
So whenever we say Pete, so the most I've got is like, oh, okay. Never
That's
got any
hilarious.
comments, and I'd
Yeah.
love some.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, right. Well, I'll send you some.
Yeah,
Anyway, not to scare people, but it's like anything, right? People go, "Ooh, blah, blah, blah," and decide they want to tell you an opinion on the thing that you're doing, right?
I know this
Anyway,
definitely
you can
happens.
bond over that one, and that's really good. But okay, so feeling isolated, yes, if you are someone who's up for putting yourself out there and meeting people, you have got to put the work in,
Yes.
find those places. I had to join Facebook, which I was like, don't make me. And I was told, like, no, Cheryl, you're just going to have to do it. And now look what happened. I'm like, never off the blooming thing. But but yeah, it was how to find that community. I think I would have struggled big time. And then in the end, turns out there's like that kid down the road, and then that thing's there.
Well,
Oh, I
that's it.
know.
Yeah.
Here's a little thing. When you're Because we're in the summer holidays, bro. So when it's not a school day, and it could be a Saturday. Is there something where you can just tell that someone's probably a homemade parent by looking at them? Like, has been doing it for a while, a bit of a homemade parent. Is there any signs? Like, how could you tell me you're a homemade parent without telling me?
Oh, I see it a lot. This might not be the jolly interaction you were after. I see, I see it a lot with I notice like how other parent and I'm judging people, but probably am. Um,
That's all right, because you're big. They're not gonna
well,
come up and
that's
have
it.
a
Yeah,
fight with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah,
People
you
can
can say what
judge
you
me as
like.
well. I'm doing the best I can,
Yeah.
and I'm sure some other people are as well. But I think you can tell a lot of the time by the way parents interact with their kids, and I think a lot of the time, and it doesn't necessarily mean they're homemade, but you can tell. I think the parents that know their child and are trying to help their child live the best life they can. Because
Mm.
especially in the school holidays, we've seen, frazzled parents that don't seem to be used to their child's company as much,
Mm.
getting frazzled. And my
Yeah.
daughter this year has commented on it, like looking at me going, my goodness, I can't believe how that person's just spoken to that child. I'm not saying that everyone doesn't lose it,
No, no, but
occasionally at
yeah, it's
all.
like, because that's what we were like, by the way, at the beginning. But we've had an awful lot of practice of
Yeah.
spending a lot of time with our child. So we've got a lot more practice at it, and our child keeps changing. But yes, we don't have, we see them all the time. So you can also tell, like, it's not like, well, again, you don't know this one, but you might do it if your daughter's at something for the day. You arrive at collection time, and they're this like, there's something that will happen, like as soon as you get in the car, I'm like,
Oh,
rah!
every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no matter what.
I wasn't there for the day to see there was this thing, and then this kid this, and this one touched me, and then they told me I couldn't have that biscuit, and all those little bits, which if you're with them, you can kind of go, oh, 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 a tweak here. It's like, why don't we just have a rest? You look hungry. And it's not, that sounds like overparenting. It's not. It's still part of that kind of educating your child to understand. I think you might be hungry,
It's
and
responding
help
to
you
their
to
needs.
help them to
Yeah.
notice and look after themselves, and give them permission to do the things that they might have to ask for. When you're at home with your kid or out with your kid all the time, at any point you can go, can I sit down? Yeah, of course, let's sit down. Not like, oh, but we all have to go now, that kind of thing. And that can be so wearing for a kid. So somebody was posting on one of our posts about this, about how that kind of experience of picking the child up from school, and they're just like all over their parent, and you don't know what has happened during the day, so you can't
Can I?
even.
I'll say as well, our daughter goes to forest school, once a week, and it's similar to school hours for that day, and she absolutely loves it. That the people there know her really well. That they're home ed people as well, that we hang around with, outside that setting. Some of them, and she has almost every time she has the best day there. Occasionally there might be some, but
Mm,
a lot of them are kids that she's grown up with, so she knows a lot of that. She can have an amazing day. She will still explode at us later on. She didn't,
mm,
things don't have to have happened and
mm.
gone wrong. And I
It's
think
just exhausting, isn't it?
sometimes the neurodivergence comes into
Yeah,
this with overload
yeah,
and things like that as well. But as you say, you're exhausted. Um, often it's hunger.
mm,
Even though we've packed her 4 lunches and bought her 2 meals to meet her
yeah,
with, it's still things like that
yeah.
and I think it's something to expect. Sometimes it's
So,
like,
so
right,
back to the spotting the person. I have seen this before. It's the big bag that has a
yes,
lot of
yes,
snacks and water in it. A lot. It
yeah,
has colouring books.
trolley.
It has a kit, like just stuff in it, because we are prepared for anything. We have our rain weather gear. We have this. We have
Oh,
that. We have
absolutely, yeah,
everything available
yeah, it's a
to
good
meet
point,
the
that one.
need around. That kind of
I've
stuff.
definitely clocked that before, and I've not found out if they are, but yeah, you
Mm.
can either sort of say, well, you might be, or you'd be a great, you know,
Yeah.
someone who would be good at
You'd
this
be
because
amazing at this. Like,
you have brought the things that you know you will need.
yeah. So maybe that's what I'm saying. It's like, who is either, oh, I think you're a homemade parent, or you've got the skills,
Yeah,
you have
that's it,
got the
isn't it?
gear,
Yeah.
you've got the attitude. You're going to rock being a homemade parent. Yeah, because I know people who are like that as school parents as well. And they are awesome parents. And they they do pack a lot of snacks. I was like, great, but I think yes, if you're used to, I take you there, someone else is responsible for you during those hours, and then I take you back, and then it's homework, tea, bath, bed, bosh, Monday to Friday, and then the weekend is dance and football and da 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 da, and then this and go and see auntie and granny, and that's Monday. Um, to have that like, whoa, oh my God, we've all this time together, you can kind of see that look of there. You can tell the people who who are you can tell the people who are desperate for the holidays to end so the kids can go back to school, and you also the homemade parents who are like, oh, will the kids just go back to school so I
Yeah.
can be somewhere and there isn't full of frazzled parents and children. So yeah. We are going to need to stop talking, but there are a couple more things we wanted to talk about. So I think we should talk about some of the this kind of the dark side, like where things can get a bit kind of sad and hard in the head. Not just like the pure exhaustion, but like some of the things that can come up for you when you're thinking about being a home educator, doubts about yourself, and also as you are a homemade parent, again, some of these kind of like things. And
Yeah,
again,
absolutely.
this
Yeah.
book talks about the wobbles and all that kind of stuff in there. That's a homemade thing. So we had so one is, um, I feel so stupid. I can't teach my child. How am I supposed to teach them? I don't think I'm going to be able to teach them. I feel really stupid. That was one that kind of hit you, didn't it?
Yeah, I feel really strongly about people that think this because I mean, and to some extent, so maybe this is what maybe I have had some comments to me of like, are you going to do it at secondary school? I say yes.
Mm,
And so, oh, how are you going to do that? Like it's almost
yeah.
an immediate questioning, and I feel like that has probably must have been instilled in people that think that they haven't got the capabilities by someone else, which I think is unfortunate.
Mm,
Um, my answer to that is that one, you're probably you're almost certainly not stupid. It's not going to be something that you're not going to be doing this if you uh, what what I
Well,
think is
stupid people don't ask that
that
question.
exactly that's what
That's the thing.
I
It's
should
like
have said. That's what I
stupid
was
people
getting at.
don't think they are stupid.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing.
It's a bit like, John Ronson wrote psychopath test. If you're thinking, am I a psychopath? You're not.
No.
Um, because no one that is ever
Yeah.
thinks that. They
Yeah.
don't care. Yeah, I always say that you don't need, and again, this comes from a lot of I think schoolified approach, which works for
Mm.
some people, does not work for us. But that mindset of I've got to teach them this thing. What I say we do is we facilitate her learning, so we give her opportunities to learn. Now, sometimes that is us explaining things to her, but a lot of the time, I've got to check my knowledge online. I might watch a short video on YouTube to refresh my memory or remind myself of something. Or if she's brought something up that I don't know anything about, I'll go find out a little bit about that so that I've got a foundation. Um, what I
Someone was talking about this online. It comes up so much, and I mean, I have been a teacher. Like, I have been a teacher. I know I haven't taught children. I've taught adults, and it's like to
was
teach
going to say
adults
animals.
something, and you're kind of like, seriously, do you think teachers know what they're teaching?
Yeah,
No, they don't know what they're teaching. They know how to help you learn. That's the
yeah.
thing, and they might have to acquire some knowledge because they're going to have to know it well enough to be able to explain it to you. But actually, often what they're doing is they're kind of learning it along with you
That
because
is exactly it.
they
Yeah,
don't know. Like if like in primary school, you cover history from like Stone Age up to kind of the industrial period and World War II and
yeah.
beyond, right? Not every primary school teacher did history A level, did history degree. They might, they didn't do history GCSE. They also do math. They also do English. They also do Spanish. They also do PE. They are not experts on all of those things, but what they're really good at doing is helping a big group of children learn about something and try and make it fun for them to learn about something and get it done before they have to go to break, and then support them and adjust to all these different needs and blah, blah, blah. Like, teachers have got such a completely different set of skills to what you need to be a home ed parent. Um, so, teachers have a lot of the resources, but in a way, it's harder for them because they've got to stop blooming teaching. Don't teach your child.
No,
It's like,
that's it. And I think that this comment referenced, basic primary level stuff that they were concerned about. Now, let go of that. Don't worry about primary level things. Don't worry about levels. There's no levels in home ed unless you make them, be there. Unless that was a terrible sentence, but unless you put them in place, there are no levels like that. You haven't got to judge yourself against, English and maths. Our daughter has just kind of started reading, very, pretty independently, but she won't sit down and read a book. She's 9. She won't enjoy it. She's definitely not reading as much as school kids do, but she can read most stuff that she sees now, like confidently.
yeah.
And that was in the last year, so from when she was 8, really. And that is really late in school terms.
Yeah.
But we have always said we're going at her pace, going at her interests. She also talks about elementary particles and what atoms are made of and things like that.
I
So
know.
it's,
Oh my God, the stuff. Some of the stuff these children learn is
yeah,
just blows your head
absolutely.
off. It's
And
like
what they're
it's kind of
interested
like
in.
they've picked that bit out of a PhD, but they don't know this bit of like phonics or something.
And
Do you know, right? It's like it's
she
mad.
sometimes she checks what way a letter goes. Sometimes still, and things like that. But it's,
Yeah.
if she was judged on primary levels, they don't do anything about atoms, to that extent. But they are really focused on how much she can read. So she wouldn't be, at those levels. But that's not the life that we're living with her.
No.
She's still
No.
learning masses in other areas, and she's developing at her pace.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
according.
have I mentioned this book yet?
No, what's it called?
Oh, it's called reality versus expectation.
Oh,
One of the things, and somebody used the word unschooling, and I know that they meant deschooling on the post.
hmm.
Um, Deschooling is covered a lot, and that is like, the word detoxing. That is what is taking the schooling out of you, the
So
school
important.
thinking out of you. Unschooling is not rolling it back and undoing it. Unschooling is something completely different. We're not talking about that today broadly. But deschooling is that kind of thing of like, teach. The word teach is a school word. It's not an education word. It's a way of accessing education, but it doesn't have to be the way you access education. So deschool, do that. So look it up. We'll put some links on posts for that. Um, what's the other thing that we were talking about? Yeah, and just this kind of like comparison and all that kind of stuff. All of that kind of thing. A lot of it is, and I wonder where you got your confidence from for this, because a lot of it is just kind of taking a deep breath and going, "You sure it's going to be okay?" Right? Because, like, your daughter at 8 was not reading, really well, and if you kind of like need to hang on and just go, I know that what we're doing is the right thing. Like, what helps you keep that going? How do you?
Uh,
Because
it's
someone else has got.
arrogance.
Yeah, okay, fine, we're fine. So yeah, scared of failing my child. I'm scared of failing my child. Does that feeling go away? Yes. Yes, it does.
I would
It
hope
does.
so. For most
You can
people,
hang
it
on to that
does.
feeling if you want to,
That's
but you
it.
can let that go. All right? You're not going to fail your child through this. Your child is going to tell you that you ruined their life for something. It might be this, it might be the fact that you wouldn't let them cut their hair, or the fact that you don't live in a city, or the fact that you do live in a city. It's like they're going to pick something, but you're not going to fail your child if what you're doing is being a good parent.
I think that's the thing. If I unfortunately there are people, and they're almost certainly not the people on here worrying about this.
No.
There are people that take their kids out of school and just for an easy life because things were getting difficult and they don't
Mm,
actually do much with their kids. And they just want to coast along and stuff. I've seen that, in places. They're not the people we're talking about.
no.
The people that are worrying about failing their children absolutely, almost certainly are not going to. And yes, if you are worried about that and you're putting the effort in, you know, to their education, you do have to put effort in.
Yeah.
But if you're doing that, you're definitely not failing them. If they're
No.
not meeting certain milestones that you're setting, let go of those milestones and just have a look at what you have achieved with them.
Ooh, something that we did, and we talked last time about getting started with home ed, and we were talking through the different induction course posts, the new starter posts. We've got a post on about making the decision to home ed, and one of the things on there is an activity that we suggest you do, and it's a sentence completion. And again, I'll link to it, but it's about deciding what success looks like. So people talk about, I don't want to fail my child. If you haven't said what success is,
Mm.
how do you know if you're failing or doing well? And so for us, we did that. It's like, what home ed will be going well if da 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 da. And then that's what you're looking at. Home
Yeah,
ed is going well if my child is, seems to be happy, is happy, if they're
this is it,
happy.
isn't it?
And that
Yeah.
could be what it is. You know
Yeah,
what?
our philosophy is that actually you've made me realise probably why I don't worry about it because I say I don't really want to speak for my wife, but I've always said that what I want to get out, want her to get out of this is to have a love of learning. As she's growing and as an adult, I want her to love learning
Mm.
or enjoy learning about things she's interested in. And
Stay
to
curious. I want
and
you to stay
yeah,
curious.
and to know how to go about doing that. When she's older, independently.
Mm, mm,
To be able to facilitate her own knowledge
yeah.
acquisition, and because I personally feel that
You do use long words, don't you,
do
Craig?
I?
Facilitate her own knowledge acquisition.
I'm sorry. Sounds funny in an Essex accent, I
Yeah.
bet. But yeah, and I think school can sometimes squash the love of learning out of people because you're learning to do something very particular, pass an exam, make the school look good. Um,
Well,
there's those,
it's a means to an end, isn't it?
yeah,
The learning is
exactly,
a means to an end, and the
rather
end
than as
is
a pleasure in itself. Yeah,
yeah. It's not the process, So I think that's probably the thing. Is like the process of learning is what we kind of take pleasure in and what we're interested in, not so much the end results in terms of what qualifications they're ending up with. That's not the marker. The marker is the process. Are we all enjoying the process, and are they equipped to be great adults? I think
when the
that's
thing,
probably the thing.
thing with exams, is that you don't have to start leading up to them at 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or even 12. You can do, okay, 14. You normally take them around 16. We can start now. Lots of home ed parents spread that out as well, don't they? And take them early or take them later.
Or don't take
Or
them
don't
at
take them at all.
all.
Do what you need to do for the
Because
next part of your journey.
you haven't
That's the thing.
decided like that. You haven't decided that is part of your journey yet. I
Yeah,
think I said something about this on group today about, you know, a qualification can be a passport that you need on your
yeah,
journey to get to a certain destination. But if you're not going to that destination, you're going somewhere else, you don't need to get that passport. You can get it like we do. We go into a particular country and we need a visa. Well, we don't get to go, oh, we won't bother going to that country then. It's like, okay, now I need that visa in order to get to that country. I'm now going to work towards that visa.
yeah,
And there isn't anything, in fact, oh, we'll talk another day about teenagers' brains, but there is, being 15, 16 is a terrible time to take exams,
yeah,
as far as your brains are concerned. Just take a lot of exams. It's like, no. So why not do it when it fits you and it fits your kid? It might
yeah.
suit them to do them early, late. I mean, there's no early or late. It could be like earlier than their school
Peers.
age gang.
They don't
Again,
have
it's
to do
that.
as many either, do that.
Yeah,
This is the thing. You haven't got to go through all of the ones that they would be doing
yeah.
traditionally at school.
And
So
you can do, oh my God, but you can also do ones that they don't do at school. You could
yeah,
do global citizenship and natural history and
Latin.
astronomy and loads of stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, right, we've got to stop talking.
Oh,
I know, but I think
everyone will
we've
be
got some
crying.
stuff coming up. We have got our next one is going to be home ed and board games. Yes, very excited about that one. And I think we're
Games
going to do one
played on a
about.
board, not games that make you go to sleep.
Oh,
Just,
well,
just
I,
to,
I am quite picky about what the definition of a board game is. It does require a
oh,
board. That is not it's not a board game if it doesn't have a board that you play on. We shall cover that and many
okay.
other interesting things.
I'll cross off some
Deck
of the ones I
building
was going to talk
game.
about then. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah, we're talking about the things you get out of a box and play with and their bits, right? Anyway, games. That's what we're going to talk about next. And then we've also got um, one with about home ed and social services that comes up and oh, we've got loads of really cool ones lined up. So going to stop recording now. Should we say goodbye?
Bye.